Welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. This is going to be a quick video based on a question I got in the comments. So this person wanted to set up a special spawn location for devs or admins in their game. So what we're going to set up is two different spawn locations. One is going to be for the normal users of the game, which is going to be this green one right here. And then we're going to have a separate spawn location for the admins and devs in your game. Let me go ahead and reload the game and I can show you how this works. So since I'm set up as a dev in this game, I should spawn on this pink one here. And as you can see, when I spawn into the game, I end up on the pink spawn location. So let's go ahead and dive in and see how we can do this in Roblox Studio. Alright, so we're going to start by inserting the two spawn locations for your game, so you can set one up for the general users and then one for your admins. To insert these spawn locations, you can go to the Model tab, and then click on the spawn button right here. I just made them different colors so that you can see the difference between the two, but you can make them look however you want to. After you have your spawn location set up, we're going to be writing a script in the server script service. So just go ahead and click on the plus sign and then add a script. The first thing we're going to do for this script is set up a table to store the admins and the devs for your game. To do that, I'm just going to say local and then admin users. This is going to be equal to a table, so I'm going to use curly brackets. Inside the table here, you can either store the names of the players, but since the names of the players can change, I'm going to use their player IDs instead. To get a player's ID, you can look at their profile. So this is my profile right here, and my user ID is the set of numbers right here. So whichever users you want to set up for this special spawn location, you can just grab their user ID and paste it inside the table. So once I get the user ID, I'm just going to paste it inside the table. Next, we're going to run some code when the player enters the game to see if their user ID is in this table here. To start that out, we're going to say game.players.playerAdded, connect. We're going to connect this with a function. Inside the parentheses, we're going to get the player that joined the game. Next, we're going to check to see if they're in that table. So we're going to say local admin, and that's going to be equal to table.find. Inside the parentheses, the first thing we're going to do is put the name of the table. So that's going to be admin user. I'm going to add an S to the name right here. It doesn't really matter, but it just sounds better to me. After you put the name of the table, the second part is going to be the value that we're looking for. And we're going to try to match the player's user ID to a value in this table. To get the player's user ID, we're going to say player.userID. Make sure it's a capital U and a capital I. Next, we're going to say if admin, then. So we don't really care what admin is storing. We're just checking to see if there's a value there. And there's going to be a value there if it's able to find a match in the table. So if we do find a match in the table, that means our player is either an admin or a dev, and we want to spawn them to that special spawn location. And I think I forgot to mention this before, but we want to give unique names to those spawn locations. So for the admin spawn location, I just named it to admin spawn, and for the general one, I just said general spawn. Okay, so we want to spawn that admin on top of the admin spawn. To do that, we're going to say player.respawn location, and we're going to set that equal to game.workspace.admin spawn. If they're not an admin, we're going to spawn them to the other location. So we're going to say else, and then player.respawn location. And we're going to set that equal to game.workspace.general spawn. If you have different names for your spawns, just make sure you update them here and also here. Okay, and that's actually all we need for the code. So let's go ahead and test it out and make sure it's still working. And there we go. So when I spawn into the game, I spawn onto the pink spawn location. To show you how this works with other users, let's go ahead and run a test server. So I'm just going to spawn in 2 players for this game. Okay, so the game is loaded, and since neither of those players, player 1 or player 2, is in my admin table, they both spawn on the green location. Let's go ahead and add player 1 to the admin table so that they spawn on the pink location instead. So the player ID for player 1 is -1. So now when I spawn into the game, player 1 should be on the pink location, and then player 2 should be on the green location. Okay, and there we go. So you can see the players spawned into 2 different locations. So player 1 spawned onto the pink location because we added them to the table. And then player 2 is just a general user, so they spawned onto the green one. Alright, so that's going to be it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one.